and welcome to Blossom with Busola today. If this is the first time you're coming here, you are so welcome. My name is Busola. I hope you have such a good time here that you decide to come back again and again. And to ensure that happens, click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that every time there's a new video, you'll be informed. I have a new video every Friday, unless I say otherwise. And if you're always here, thank you so much for coming here again. Today, I appreciate every moment you spend on my channel. Last week, I had a chat with my friend Sarah, and we talked about her health, the loss of some ability, which now means that she uses a wheelchair to move about. In that video, Sarah talked about the darkness and depression that could come with such a state and being brought into the light of the Lord Jesus Christ and having a new lease of life. If you didn't watch that, you should go watch it. It was life and life-giving. Today, I present the continuation of that chat. Sarah makes us to know that disabled people are normal people. I'm using her words. And you should be a friend. Look past the wheelchair or whatever means of support that person has and relate to the person as a friend. Sarah also shares about the support she's had from her family and so much more. So let's just dig right in. And if you like what's going on, remember to click like and share with your connections. Your comments are always welcome. You sure know that. Thank you for always leaving a comment. So, what's the best way to help people view a disabled person as more than just disability?
Just treat them normally. You wouldn't come across somebody that wasn't disabled and assume them things. And people might be like, you might, I wouldn't assume that you couldn't do something or get somewhere I would ask you questions to find out whether that's possible. You might not be able to drive, and get to certain places, so I would speak to you and say, can you do this? Can you do that? And you do exactly the same with a disabled person. You'd be amazed, the amount of stuff that they can do, and you'd be amazed how ignored they are. So just talk and be lovely and normal with them, because if people treat you in a certain way when you're in a wheelchair, I think they just assume that you get people in shops that don't even hand you the receipt and things, and whoever you're with, they'll give it to the person that you're with, and they'll not talk to you, they'll talk to the person that you're with. And so just be normal. Try and zone out the wheelchair or the aid, and just talk to them like a friend, like everyday person.
Yeah, be normal. Just treat them like everyday person, because they're everyday person. I tell you, Sarah is an everyday person. She's my go-to woman. We work on the same team in our church, the welcome team, and I would ask Sarah to do just about anything and she would do it. But that I have learned from my relationship with Sarah. So ask questions, like she said. You wouldn't rush to help me open the door, thinking that I'm not able to open the door because I'm going on my 2 feet. But you probably want to say, oh, let me open the door, let me do this for her. But and people can do those things for themselves. So if you look beyond the wheelchair or any other thing they use to support themselves, treat the person as normal. Ask questions. Would you be able to do this? Ask for their help.
Yeah. Be their friend.
Yes,
more than anything, be their friend.
Yes.
So people don't talk to you as much as other people because they're worried about saying the wrong thing, but you can't say the wrong thing any more than you can just talking to anybody else. Just No.
So how important is the support of family?
Massive, I think. I think that's what makes my life so enjoyable, is that I have the support of my family and the support of church, and makes me feel like a normal person that has purpose in their life. You know, I'm needed and wanted and supported in most areas. So without this, my life would be difficult for me to live such a joyful life, because it would be hard. So you've got to, those relationships are massively important to me.
I like the words you used: needed, wanted, and supported.
Every
Can you
person,
speak a bit
yeah.
more about how do you feel? How do people make you feel needed and wanted?
By including me in things, by recognising that I still have good things to give. I still have like,
Of course you do.
I still have like things that I'm good at, things that I.
What makes you feel supported?
So feeling supported, I suppose, would be that everybody around me is always really helpful. Like I know, like I can do things, but there are things that are difficult, and people do those parts for me. So like in our family, we probably work a bit like a puzzle, a bit like teamwork, I suppose. So people do the things I can't do, and then I do the things that I can do for everybody else in place, and the things that I can't do. It's pretty much the same at church. You know, if I'm unwelcome, I do the stuff that I do well, and then people do some of the physical jobs that I don't do so well. So that's where the support comes, and that support when you're disabled makes life normal for you. It makes everything that you do normal, because like kind of go around, and Paul will be my arms and legs for some things. But Paul was not quite so good at like some other areas that I'm good at. So you end up a bit more of a team player with people. I found that like in church a lot as well. Like people quickly recognise that you can do this, that, and this, and then they fill in the other bit, and that works really well. And it seems to work quite quickly. So people picking up on that is great. Not just assuming that you can't do certain things and then doing it for you. For them to just spend a little time trying to work out what it is you can do, and then doing the stuff you can't, and it just, everything then runs smoothly like it would. Yeah, and also accepting that to let me do the things for you that you can obviously do, but I'm freeing up the time for you to do things for me, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does make sense. So leaving a room for you to support me. Yeah. Because then that also makes you feel you've added value. Even though I can do that thing, but I let you do it, and then I go do the things that you can't do. Yeah. So I'm doing things, and you're also doing things. So we all have the team sense of a team achievement. Yeah. So I think I get that quite well.
And if people are unsure, just ask. If don't think I don't want to ask because I might insult that person. You're not going to insult that person. They're going to think that you're kind and caring, and that you've interested in what they can do and whether you can help them. You know, if you do it in a nice way, there's no way you're going to insult that person.
Ask. Sarah had said that before. That's great guidance. Ask the person, can I do this for you? Or would you like me to do this? Or are you okay to do this? Yeah.
All of those are correct.
Yes. Just ask questions. I would say to Sarah, would you be able to do this? The last time you needed to be on welcome, and it was like, okay, so it's not going to work because Paul and Rob are away at work. And then I got to church. You were there. You made it.
So I think I even pushed my own boundaries that day.
Yes.
Because I do. Of course, I want to achieve things the same as anybody else. Yeah. So sometimes for me to get to church very early on a Sunday, if Paul and Robbie are at work, that's like so much harder for me, because I I have to then pick up all the things that they would do before we left for church.
Walk the dog.
Walk the dogs. I have to feed the dogs. If anything goes wrong, like I have to sort it out in the house. Whereas normally we do all those bits. One would go off and do the dogs. I would feed the dogs. I'd get stuff ready in the house. Even getting myself ready is a bit more difficult when Paul and Robbie are not here.
But it's still good to ask you.
Yeah.
You have did yourself
So I
that
got
day.
up earlier,
Yeah.
I organised things a bit more, and I managed it. And of course that pushed things for me as well, which is also good to push
Yes.
me just like any other person.
Yeah.
Obviously I would say like, no, that's something I can't do if it was something, but I was like, this is going to be difficult for me to do.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Yeah, and your very stubborn friend still pushed a bit like, you think you can do it?
Try.
Yeah, and I was so happy. I just got there, was like, surprise, you're here, and you were. So it's good to ask, like you said, and to challenge the person, because some people may have children who are disabled, and they
always challenge, definitely. If I did have a disabled child, I would definitely push. I would know it's okay to push and push and push, just a tiny bit at a time. Don't ever make anybody feel that it's not something they can't achieve. Like, it has to be achievable, it has to be small. Everybody needs to be stretched a little, don't they? In the right areas.
Sarah, you are at the moment doing a course in accounting. You don't stop, do you? You keep pushing.
I think, it's really. I'm finding it. It's a challenge. I'm enjoying it. It's something I've wanted to do for a long time, and I just felt now was the right time. And it's a big challenge.
Yeah.
Right.
And you just think about things you want to do, and you just go doing them.
That's one of the healings I received. Is before I would have just been no straight away. I'd never have challenged myself, because what I was going through I felt was already like the only thing I could face in life. So that's partly why my life was over, because I'd stopped living, really. I'd stopped doing anything. I'd stopped giving myself any purpose, any challenges. I was just a useless person, which is so untrue. So now if something pops into my head, I try and be, yes, I'm going to do that. Yeah. Even though I know it's like, oh, it's going to be so hard. But I still like try and face it with as positive an attitude as I can. I don't want to be that negative person anymore. Like, and what drives me is it's not ever I know that God wouldn't let me go back there, but at the same time I push for myself not to be there either. So it's like both of us working at it. So I think if both of us are working at it, then I'll not ever go back there. So.
And maybe someone who is disabled is watching and thinking, how does she ever manage when people don't treat her nice? When people think you're less than because of the wheelchair? So how do you manage that? Or do such things happen?
Yeah, things happen. It happens a lot more than you would think. I just try and let it go over my head. I mean, I think people just don't understand your circumstance because they haven't been there. And that's not really their fault. Obviously people could empathise just maybe a little bit more, but you have to understand that when you walk a different life, you don't see into somebody else's, so it's difficult sometimes for you to empathise with that person. And you just, so I just let it go over my head. I just think they just don't understand. They've never had anyone in their family that they've been close to that's been disabled, so they don't. And sometimes people just fear it a little bit. They're a bit scared of talking to you. They're a bit scared of interacting with you. Don't really know what to say, and you just, okay, it's fine. Just step back until that person's ready. But a lot of the time people are good. College, they've been really good. Yeah.
Is there a way you could help people feel normal about you? Like in your relationships?
Yeah, well, it's normally, I've often found it's normally time. Once people spend a little bit of time with you and talk to you, and they're like, oh, this person's normal.
Yeah.
Which like, sounds a little bit of an insult, but it's not. It's not an insult. It's just, that's the way life is.
You're so kind and understanding, Sarah.
But it's so true. Like, I'm sure there's been points in my life where I've judged somebody wrongly. Like, everybody does it. It's just because it's different. It's not what you've come across before. Doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It just means that is just the way the world is. Like, and unless you get yourself out there and mix with people, and it's the same as being a Christian, isn't it? Like, how do you bring more people to Christ? You go out and you talk about Christ to people. It's the same with being disabled. You go out, you talk to people, you interact with people, and it changes perspectives of other people. If you think I couldn't even accept it in myself, so then how difficult is it for somebody else to accept it when they don't even know you? So it's hard. But I think the world's changing.
How?
I think it's definitely becoming more disabled friendly. Areas are definitely looking for access to be better. And I can do so many things. There is few things that I can't join in with.
So you do many things.
Like going to college and things, there would have been a point in time where that wasn't possible. Where
you drive yourself to anywhere you want to.
Drive to where I want to go.
Do your cooking,
yeah.
Do your house things, go out.
There's a way to live. Yeah. And I think that's the way the world should be. Everybody should be able to join in with stuff that they want to join in with, not just because of disability, because of many different things. So,
yeah. So at this stage, and as the illness had progressed, and at this stage, I know there are certain things that you would love to do that you are not able to do. To share what those.
If we're talking more on a physical side,
on the physical side,
I would love to walk on the beach. Love to walk up stairs normally, because stairs to me are like mountains. Stairs are like the most difficult thing in the world.
You talked about swimming.
Yeah, I still can go swimming. It's very difficult to get in the pool if you can find the right place to go to. So I do have somewhere I go to, and they have a very good chairlift into the pool, and I can swim fairly well because it takes the weight off your body. So I'm okay. I can go swimming. I'm pleased that when my kids were young, I was able to go swimming normally with those. That was really nice. I think that's one of the troubles with the disability is, and what I found so difficult during them years is that you would lose a certain movement.
So I would always tell you, I went on a walk. Yeah. I know when you go on your scooter, but it's not quite the same.
No. Thing. So I remember my last ever big walk, and I remember at the end of it saying, that will be my last walk. So it's like grief. That's an area of my life that I will no longer do. So they're the difficult times. They're the times where you have to accept something that you don't really want to accept, but you have to move on. Otherwise, you just drown in that loss. It's like a loss. You're losing an activity, something in your life that you don't particularly want to, but you have to accept it. Otherwise, you're just going to drown in the loss of it.
Yeah. When I do things, when I speak about grief and loss and bereavement, it's not just about losing somebody to death. There are things in our lives that there are big losses, small losses that we also need to grieve. And you just explained now how you took that big walk and told yourself this is going to be the last big walk of your life, most likely, and you allowed yourself to grieve that, you accepted, came to a point of understanding, so you weren't fighting it.
Yeah. Well, this was during that dark period, so I did. That's the point. I did fight it. I let that drag me down. I let and that was, to me, that period of time was like a big grieving period where I couldn't accept what was happening, and that's where the healing came from. Was acceptance isn't the right word. It's just it's God teaching you that you can still live your life even though that has happened. So to me, that was a big grieving period, a big kind of just mourning. I'd almost felt like my life had ended.
You know what I get from what you said now? Thinking about the things you can't do, you just mentioned walking, taking a walk. Okay, going up the stairs is like a mountain. Okay, so it looks like those are the two things you've talked about, not being able to do. Any other thing? I'm sorry, I'm pushing it because it's looking to me like you can still do a whole lot of
I
things.
can do. That's the mindset. That's the seeing it. It's not about you can't do that thing. It's how do I do that thing? Like, I can't go to a swimming pool and walk in and get in like an everyday person.
But you can still
But
swim.
I can still go swimming because ways have been made for disabled people to go swimming. So it's not always I can't do that thing. It's about how do I do that thing? And that's the mindset that was changed. It was not like, and I was living in a I can't do anything world, and God gave me a how do you do it? How do you find a way to do that thing? Like, there are some things that are impossible. Like, I'm not going to climb to the top of some mountain, but lots of people can't.
Some people can. Lots of people can't climb up to the top of the mountain.
So that's okay. So I mean, things are difficult to arrange and do, but then they're not impossible anymore. And I was living in the impossible, and now I live in the possible.
Well,
that's the difference in the world.
Like you just said, there are many people who won't be able to do so many things that you are not able to do. So I remember last year when we went to
Ben Nevis.
So last year when we went to Ben Nevis, and people asked me, "Did you climb?" I said, "You've got to pray to God to heal my knees." I didn't try it because I have these pains on my knees, but because I'm going about, nobody knows about that. But I wasn't able to do that, though I would have loved to do it. So it's more about how can I do the things I'm able to do, the things that had looked impossible. What are the ways to be able to do them? And then having deep satisfaction in I can do this, I can.
And accept the impossible can't be achieved sometimes. And that is for all people.
Everybody has, everybody, I believe everybody. I have so many things I can't do, but we have seen that there are so many things that you can do. And you can do well.
Wow. It's about focusing on the right stuff, isn't it? Like, I focus the stuff in my life that some people don't have. Some people don't have. They've never met the person of their dreams. They've never had children. There's so many things in my life that are brilliant. Why focus on the bad stuff when you have good stuff all around you?
That's it.
You've got to focus on that, and that's what my healing was. It's to change the way I was viewing the world around me.
Beautiful.
Simple but perfect.
Beautiful. Simple but perfect. Thank you so much, Sarah. Make sure you share this with people, your connection, and subscribe if you haven't. I hope today's discussion has been a blessing to you. Once again, remember to share with everyone you think it will be a blessing to. And I'll see you again in my next video. Bye and thank you. God bless you.